Hello, my babies. And welcome to We Are Live! What?
Morning, welcome to the show. It's We Are Live, Chris Dimon, Travis Terrell, and others. We'll tell you about those in just a second. Big thanks for tuning in. We're live at the Midcoast Studio in Grand Center, St. Louis, Missouri. Big time guest today, the great Randy Character from 101 ESPN. That's WXOS. Travis, on the call letters.
Wick sauce.
That's right. Excited to have him. We'll chat with him. Extended conversation in the second hour. But first, the man responsible for that connection, the Stream Queen and Scooter King, Chris Gardner. Good morning.
Where is he? Hey, baby girl.
What?
Sorry.
Baby girl.
I heard Scream Queen, so I could.
Stream.
Stream Queen?
Yeah.
We
Oh.
stream
I've been
online.
struggling with words.
I don't
again
know
lately.
what's happened. I don't know what happened. I think it's you guys.
Yeah.
I think it's the dumbness that you project
Okay.
that has now seeped into my skin.
Huh.
I was very smart when I was in New York City. Hey, Gardner, how are you today?
Good morning, gentlemen. And good morning, Walnut.
There it is. Put it up. All right. Now eat it. Eat it.
I got a
Eat-
forearm thing going.
Tennis elbow?
No, I didn't say elbow. Well, no, tennis elbow will go into your forearm, though. It's more on the top, though. I think it's from lifting my scooter.
How's your Western forehand?
Probably not real good these days. I haven't tried that in a while.
What about your Midwestern backhand?
What would that look like?
You wear a half Ravens, half Giants jersey and sing at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not good then either.
That's fair.
I did my backhand. I like to go back and forth between the two-handed and one-handed. You, Travis?
I myself enjoy the Sampras underswing.
What is that? Look
That
like?
is a move perfected, of course, by the great Andre Agassi, and where you just use the underhand to hit the ball like Pete Sampras.
So Agassi started playing before Sampras, right?
Yeah.
But it's called the Sampras underswing.
That's how good Sampras was.
Oh,
That Andre Agassi appropriated his own swing.
before.
Pete Sampras became world famous.
Okay. Good to know. I didn't know
Sorry,
that part of tennis
sorry.
history.
Do your
I like
research.
Our little tennis chats we've had here
Oh,
lately.
I do as well. We should do more of it. Let's do more tennis coverage.
Okay.
What's the next big tournament? The Wells Fargo Open?
You just guessing there?
I'm assuming that's a tournament. Indian Wells. That's a thing.
You only know that because of Serena.
Yeah, that's also true. The Miami Open? Okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time you played tennis, by the way?
It's probably been like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, but you're like a world-class state champion.
No.
No.
But
Not at all.
But you played in high school.
No.
You
No.
didn't play at high school at all.
I
He-
played for a semester at Lindenwood
Oh, okay.
played
played
is a
golf.
relative term.
Okay.
in high school.
Okay. When was the last time you played tennis?
Long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
They were just handing out scholarships at Lindenwood when I was going there.
Well, that was
Which
back
is ironic, yeah.
in the days whenever they would they focused on the cattle for tuition
Yeah,
trade.
they had like 13,000. They were bigger than SLU. Like they had 13,000 people going there or something like that. A lot of beauty queens went there.
I've noticed that. I've noticed
And,
that.
Panamanians as well.
Interesting.
I'm trying to remember what else.
What was the connection to
It
Panama?
was something with the president.
There's always like one thing that'll.
Yeah,
if
it was
there's a
like
root.
something with the president of the university who had some connection to Panama. Maybe went on visits there and that. Was it Dennis Spellman was the president then?
I always felt bad for the foreign exchange students that had to come to Farmington.
Damn.
I was like, man, you could have been sent to New York.
I know
Los
that has
Angeles.
to be. I mean, that has to
I
just
got
be a
s-
great
I mean, of course,
disappointment.
high school kids, you think you're like, man, we have a good time here. This is fun. And the kids did have fun. I'll say that. And they'd go to St. But like, it's just kind of funny. Like if they would talk to their friends, they're like, "How's Chicago?" They're like, "Awesome. I'm being taught that digging ditches is part of life."
Yeah.
Foreign exchange students.
I got scared for a moment yesterday because I saw Farmington trending on my
I
Twitter.
saw that as well, and I was like, oh boy, that is never good. And it was Farmington, Maine.
Yeah.
Farmington, Maine in the news yesterday. For what? I'm not sure.
They had a fire. or
Okay.
an explosion and a fire. And I
And
think-
Maine?
That did make the family group chat.
Did it?
My brother was like, "What the?"
Is everyone
first,
okay?
and then he realized.
Yeah. That's I was. It's one of those ones where you're hesitant to click. You're like, oh God, no.
Now that's interesting that your brother in California contacted the group chat to find out if everybody was okay.
Well, he was
But when there
notifying
was a-
us that he had a quick look down.
But when there was an earthquake, you didn't even know that your brother and sister-in-law were in grave danger.
They weren't in grave
So,
danger at all.
If we were to
not true.
we to extrapolate this,
Blatant
why
lie.
don't you care about your brother?
It's a great question, and I'm here to apologize.
Thank
for
you,
that.
Dave Denman. I love you.
Extrapolating that is up to you.
Thank you, John Mozeliak. Speaking
So-
of John Mozeliak and the St. Louis Cardinals, how about those Redbirds?
Here we go.
Oh boy.
Time to fly, boys and girls.
Oh, you're on this.
You're not
wave
gonna-
today.
Oh,
Of
Randy's
all-
coming
of
in.
all-
I'm
of
trying
all
to get
the
warmed
things,
up.
I was okay.
Randy's
that makes
coming
sense.
in.
I was
Trying
like,
to warm up.
You know, we've got a nice opportunity to talk Cardinals in depth in about 1 hour.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That's called a tease, Chris. That's what the kids call it in the biz.
Cardinals did win last night.
They
That was
did
nice.
indeed. As the race for October is underway. It's been so long since we've actually talked sports in depth. I'm just trying to get all the cliches out of the way right now.
What else you got?
Well, the
Does
Cardinals
the
played
NBA? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. You gonna know
Please.
does the NBA work in St. Louis?
The NBA will never work in St. Louis. More after the break.
I'll tell you why. Is what you would do.
Yeah.
Well, the Redbirds played a hard 9 last night as Dakota Hudson won a strong 7. And Carlos Martinez, off his deathbed, rises to the occasion.
So was he hungover?
Come on, man. Y'all got to leave Carlos Martinez alone. Why? I understand he does have a history.
Checkered history.
It ain't that checkered.
Careful.
It's been a couple of bad decisions made by a young man
Hey.
becoming acclimated
careful,
to
Careful, Trev. You might
money in America.
I'd let.
Trav, I got some stuff on my laptop
I was,
No.
yeah, I was gonna say. Man,
All
come
I'm
on.
just saying
that I've
is
saved.
Don't be a.
what Carlos Martinez
I love Carlos.
has gotten himself into as regards to trouble is no different than 2/3 of the white males in St. Louis have gotten
That's-
themselves in trouble with.
Absolutely incorrect.
That is very incorrect. Going over to East Side,
What is
getting
it, 1/3?
right,
that's
like
more
getting
accurate.
drunk after the baseball games, going over to the East Side, starting fisticuffs. Like that sounds like most men I know from
I was on his side for that.
Maplewood. Yeah, so I would relax.
But you're not.
2/3 of this city has a DUI, so for people to get all up in arms about what Carlos Martinez does outside the diamond is
Trev,
pretty
right
there.
ridiculous.
Trev,
Tried to take me out of the conversation.
I'm not taking anybody to conversation. I just remember a particular manager falling asleep at the wheel,
Yeah.
Travis.
and he's completely regarded and respected in this city. Am I wrong?
You
Does this organization also not have a history of
of
alcohol?
all days, of all days.
I'm just throwing it out there.
You getting warmed up?
And this is how we tease.
Feel good?
I feel a little bit
Getting that
better.
out there?
I'm gonna get it going. I feel like when Randy comes in here, I'm gonna be Skip. He's gonna be Shannon Sharp, and we're
Don't
gonna.
you think he wants to just talk about anything else other than sports?
Oh, now if we want to talk about other than the sports, we can talk about what is there really else to talk about with Randy? What else did you guys want to get into? with,
Guy's a super interesting guy. I don't know. I just don't know if he wants to break down Colton Wong's OPS for another hour of his day.
Okay, we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out. We'll do that, or we'll discuss how
know.
terrible Rotten Tomatoes is.
You could ask him. You could ask him.
Battlehawk talk, baby.
Battlehawk, most certainly, because he's Cacaw Nation.
He's Cacaw Nation.
Oh,
He
he's
was tweeting it out.
hashtagging,
He's
yeah.
had it
Oh, well,
me
characters
die.
on the Cacaw Nation, then, boys and girls, and
Yeah.
I am officially a part of the Cacaw Nation as well.
So we'll go with that. You
Okay.
Could, you could pitch your idea of replacing John Mozeliak
With Magic Johnson?
Yeah, I always like that one.
Okay, good. Because if I hear it on the air later this afternoon, there's going to be hell to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I will move a mic
Fun
out of
fact.
position just to tick you off.
No, I like that. Oh, no.
Oh, you want to be in the frame?
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You don't
I'm sorry.
have to
Please
be.
don't. I'm sorry.
I only put him there so you can be in the frame.
Do you want to do a close-up of me the rest of the show?
Hey, don't do that.
Oh, ratings just went through the roof. Fun fact, Farmington, New Mexico has had a 50% surge in violent crimes over the last 5 years. Take that, St. Louis. Farmington. It's from Black Sheep.
Speaking of Farmington, do we have a video of you? Can we get to this video I've been hearing so much hype about?
There's not that much hype. We saw the best video ever yesterday with
Yeah.
the great Nathan Orton. But
That was very delightful. Very delightful. Has he posted it on his page, by the way?
I was in a group.
Okay, that's really good.
It's on his
But-
YouTube, I guess.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, it is on his YouTube.
We got to
yeah.
share that bad boy. That is good entertainment. But there's a particular video with you involving what the police. You're attacking a police officer, And if I understand, so Chris
He
Denman,
lived.
as a lot of us know, has a long criminal past. There are things that he doesn't like to often discuss on this show. But when I met Chris, you
You
were
can look me up on
berating.
CaseNet. He's a filthy fucking liar.
I am
if
not.
you'd like his full name, social security number, and everything to do an audit on Travis, I'm more than happy to give that to you.
Which
Just
I've
DM me.
done.
Hey. Nevertheless, Chris has assaulted several officers of the law, and I
never
think he
happened.
paid the price, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend. Gardner, do we have the video of that?
We do. Here.
All right, let's fire that bad boy up.
Can I ask who the voices are in the background here?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, this is Chris Denman resisting arrest.
Tails lit. Oh, poor baby. Huh?
I'm not gonna-
That's what they say.
Yep.
Oh,
Man,
good
you got-
job, Tails.
You got no chance. Those things can't come after you. I'll tell you that right now. That arm sleeve, so thick and so protective.
And he still felt it?
I mean, it wasn't painful at all.
But I'm
At
saying,
all.
like, what was the pressure like? What would you compare it to?
Do you know what a vice is?
Yeah. It's that tough, huh?
My God,
Sweet
yeah.
Lord.
Imagine
mean,
what a bear would feel like then.
I could have lifted that. Like that dog's probably only like he's in really good shape. I don't know, 60 pounds maybe or something. And I mean, I could with that thing on, I could have ran around with him just because it would just be like doing like a fly with a dumbbell fly or whatever. But if that was just your bare arm, you would just have to have a super high pain tolerance or be able to just clock out and run. There is no way you're getting anywhere with that thing. It's plus too because if it was on the scan, he'd be inching his back his teeth, the back teeth, getting up further on you, so he'd be able to grip even more. And there might even I don't think it would crush bone, but you're not going anywhere. I mean it is clamped down, and then he'd probably shake or something. And if he came loose, then he's going to take you out at the legs. Don't run from the canine unit. So,
Travis looks
yeah.
scared.
I'm trying to figure out, what did you do to deserve that?
Oh no, I just.
Would you
I
like me
saw,
to send some people down there to protest? Because that looks pretty,
Let me see it
pretty
one more-
excessive to me.
Let me. See. You think it was excessive?
That looked excessive to me.
Hold
Look at
on a
that dog, still chewing. If that was your arm, he would have ripped it off and continued to chew. That seems pretty excessive. Watch Chris. He's complying. He's like, officer, I hear you. I am
I
going
hear ya.
to.
I'm gonna get into
I
a-
am no
a
longer resisting,
peaceful
officer.
position.
And the officer's like, get him!
Did you see? Did you see how he?
Look at him.
pulled-
Look. He's already told the dog to stop. Dog. Dog, stop.
Did you see whenever he inched up again? When they get that second bite in, that would be ball game. Like you would drop at the pain from that for sure. So yeah. So
Thank those officers for doing their job. Chris
I was
had a pound of
violent
meth
threat.
in his pocket.
Yeah.
How did you end up doing that?
Oh, they did a demonstration at the church picnic I was attending, and
Why'd they pick you?
oh, they didn't. They just
They
did it.
smelled the
And I
black
was
on
like,
you?
hey,
They
I
smelled the
was-
black on you, didn't
yeah,
they? It
they
was like,
did. Yeah.
Smelled like North County Negro.
Exactly. There was a couple there watching, and I was like, I don't know if you want to be out whenever the dog gets out, because they did a demonstration, and there was a couple that I would flag as, well, let's do a stop and pat.
Oh,
on,
Jesus.
On them in the
Oh, my.
in the area, because it's one of those things where you're just like, God, if you don't have meth in your pockets, I'm gonna be real disappointed. Like the couple that was there, and they did leave before the dog came out, which I pointed out. But no,
The dog just would have ran over to him.
Oh,
That
can you
would've
imagine?
been
Well,
funny.
it runs over whenever it sees like whatever it's trained to smell. It just sits.
Oh no.
Oh, boy. This is a Farmington event. I'm happy I wasn't invited to.
Those people are over there.
Right. No, so they did it, and then they had they had a volunteer who was like an EMT or something just do it that they're friends with, and then he was putting the dog up. I'm like, hey, give me that arm sleeve. Let me get a little taste of that. I just wanted to see how strong the dog was or how much it would suck to have one of those hanging off you, and I will confirm, not fun.
Not
Can't imagine.
Do you think you could outrun one of those bad boys if you had to? Even Chris Denman, peak shape.
No, absolutely not. That
I'm
German
honest-
Shepherd probably is pushing at its fastest between 15 and 20 miles an hour.
I can outrun him on the scooter.
What about walking? What if you're in the middle of a police chase? And during
Oh,
the
like if you
police
just keep a
chase, you just
calm-
decide to just park your vehicle that you just recently
Oh wow!
stole.
Funny how that worked. Like if you stole it from like a gas company or something.
Yeah, if you stole
locally.
it from a popular company in
Maybe
town,
Aspire.
Aspire, like
Would
an
you be
electric company.
inspired to get away from the
Yeah.
dog?
Well, I would obviously park the car in the middle of the police chase
Yeah.
and then calmly walk away as if nothing had just happened.
So
Do we-
maybe you steal the car from Spire's lot in Shrewsbury,
Mm-hmm.
for example.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically
Drive it
speaking.
around, go to 2 different states, driving around some in a police chase, and then, I don't know, end up in St. Louis in the Grand Center neighborhood and park it right in front of our office.
Ah!
Right around 3224 Locust.
Yeah, real close there, just down the
Strange.
street.
If we only had video of such an issue, that
Well, guys,
Oh boy! So the best part about working in Grand Center, even in Midtown in general, is that this is where all the action is. We have had our fair share of police interactions
Yeah.
in this area.
for it being a delightful, way more professionally
Very chill.
attended area.
Yes.
This is the arts district. You have theater, you have regional arts, you have all this stuff going on. We could not ask for a better place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, if you just do a crime map, we probably look like the White Walkers are at our gates, like as far as crime dots,
we're
right?
still a city.
Yeah, still
still
very
a
much
city.
a city.
Very
It's
true.
an urban area still.
So yesterday there was another action chase
Yeah.
that ended up right outside our front door.
Yeah, it's an interesting conclusion.
Very
I
interesting
thought.
conclusion. Take a look, see at how this bad
Perhaps
boy
it's
played
because
out.
This person has been so
Okay, this
erratic.
is
Let's
them.
think about
This is in our neighborhood.
If you've got
This
a
is
chase
driving down
operation, you
Locust.
All right, that's our building right there.
Right there.
There it is.
That's the rooftop.
A lovely place for
Sally's
weddings, by the
rooftop
way.
garden.
And the gentleman
Those are the
has
smooth
stolen.
facilities, right?
And this is
Yeah.
a Powerhouse Sky Zoom 4 of CBS here in St. Louis is following the police chase. So this gentleman is live on the news.
He gets out, closes the door, and makes sure it's shut.
Someone wearing
The
just
gentleman
number
hops out of the
3
stolen
t-shirt,
Spire
just
truck,
deciding
electric
to
company
walk
here in St. Louis.
And just
And
casually
he,
clear. I mean,
while
not
live
worried
on
about
television,
being
being
aware.
pursued by helicopters,
Calmly
gets
walking.
out of this truck and calmly just walks up the street as if there's nothing going on.
That is, at least that's 3323.
He's passing the Moto Museum.
Street here. We're looking this up right now. In the
He'll be getting there
control room,
soon.
but,
He is
Just down
taking
the
a
street.
casual
he's
stroll
right.
I don't think he
right
made
down
it that
the
far.
No, he
No, he
did.
didn't get too
Gotta be
far,
wondering,
but for those who have been in
is
the
this
area, Field House is probably half a block from here.
or just ready to
That's where I
walk
had
off?
lunch yesterday.
And this gentleman, again, in the red polo shirt, at the end of a police chase, is calmly walking down the street, still being pursued by the law.
Well, he's on the sidewalk.
And now he begins
Now
to
he
walk
is,
the
yeah.
street, and this is when the action begins. Because here comes the law. He knows the law's coming, but he is as calm can be.
And so here we go. We've got police pulling
Police
up. and all of a sudden-
officers, an unmarked vehicle then pulling up, obviously.
Guns drawn.
And they've got
Officers
their
telling him
guns
to put his hands
drawn.
up. He's
By the
very
way, shout out to
peacefully going
Impalas,
the ground,
still the
hands are
strong
up.
representation
Two
for
unmarked police
the police
vehicles.
community.
And it appears this individual is surrendering to
didn't,
police. He does have his hands up.
He didn't
And,
put up a
handcuffs
fight.
are
Yeah,
now
well, the
going
poli-
on.
police knew the
And
coppers were
they are
around,
bringing
too.
this individual into
This is
custody.
also very
He is
true.
On the ground, in the street. These are plainclothes officers
In unmarked vehicles.
that are making this
Now,
arrest
for
out
those
in
who
the
are not
center of the street on
entirely
Locust. Again,
familiar
really
with
urban
the
Chestnut
Midtown St.
really
Louis area,
buzz
Is this
where
near
is
about
Compton?
3.5 to 4 blocks from Locust is the St. Louis Police Department headquarters. So you're talking about an area where a lot of detectives, a lot of police officers generally just drive, whether they're getting lunch or whether they're on duty. But it's an active area where the police are often driving or patrolling. And so I don't know if those plain clothes were necessarily a part of the initial pursuit, but he was certainly within an area where there would probably be a fair amount of officers just in the area patrolling in general. So there was no win-win for that gentleman in that situation after he stole the Spire truck. But at least it ended without anyone getting hurt.
Just get to the point. He walked out of the car.
He did.
Yeah, you were ready to go full on like CBS News on this. This is hilarious.
I think the gentleman complied. He broke a crime, and everything just ended peacefully.
Broke a crime.
Isn't it weird just
How
to get
funny
out
is
of the
that?
car and just walk down the street?
I get the play.
Was
I
he
get the
on-
play. Now,
Okay.
I get the play because
All right,
he
here we go.
figured
Here
if
we
he
go.
was
There it
because
is.
he also realizes if he's running, what do cops say? Don't you run?
Yeah.
And he probably has been in several police chases. So he realized if he runs, he's going to have to pay the price later.
Gotcha.
So he acknowledged, well, I'm just going to walk.
I'm gonna
They're
walk.
going to arrest me. He calmly parked the vehicle knowing that if he damaged that
So he
vehicle.
knows he's done?
He knows he's done. He
Okay.
knows, but he also recognizes he's only committed X amount of laws. So he knows that if he damages that vehicle, that's probably another felony. If he runs from the cops, that's resisting arrest. So at this point, he just says, you know what? I've done the math. This is probably maybe a couple of months in jail. Let's just go ahead and end this right here peacefully. Let me make sure I keep my back and my knees and my ankles in place.
Yeah.
They're going to arrest me. Let's keep it moving.
Okay.
This was a guy who realized this was going to end at some point. So let me try to end it that fits, that it's better for me.
Yeah.
And he did. That was smart.
Okay. That's the part I'm
Cops
wondering.
always say, don't you run. And he didn't. And that's why I think those officers, including the helicopter being there, were very
I think that helps greatly.
patient with
Oh,
this
that the
particular.
helicopter was there.
Yeah, that helped.
We have an audience, gentlemen.
That helped.
I think that's always going to help.
Yeah, that very much. helped.
Oversight is something that changes your attitude.
And then when you're walking like that reduces the idea that you're a threat. The way
Yeah.
that he was walking and presenting himself. So therefore, if the law rolled up, even with the helicopter not
What was
being
his
there,
excuse? What was his good like? What was his like? If the officers weren't sure it was him, what do you say if you're that guy?
hey man, I'm heading to lunch. I'm heading over to the field house. What's good, man? What you talking about? No, I work for Spire. I just parked my car. I'm just walking down the street to give me some
I'm
lunch.
Leon Spire.
That would probably be my play. That's probably my play. That's my play.
That's my dad's truck.
my dad's
yeah,
truck,
I don't
man.
have the papers.
Nah,
on it.
I
I mean,
it's
it's my
papers,
dad.
man. It's my dad. Look,
Call
it's
my
painted on the
dad.
truck, man. Just call Mrs. It's called
Leon Spire the second.
He would
The
be senior.
junior.
He'd be senior because
Senior.
he's junior. It's called Leon
But
Spire
I mean,
Senior.
his grandpa could be the. I mean,
No, that's not how it would work. This is where we are in St. Louis, where we're just happy that a police chase ended calmly.
yeah.
Not
for
that
sure.
it's the 14th police chase of the day. We're just happy that this ended calmly.
But we're also, it's a giant company who will take away your heated water if you don't pay them. So it's kind of funny that they're right. Like just you talk about this, like I got no problem with Spire. A lot of jobs, a lot of great jobs at Spire. But it is funnier when it's a big company that it's like
They'll be
they'll
all right.
make it.
They'll
Right.
be all
You,
right.
you
I
kept me
saw-
awake. You woke me up early for a year and a half when I lived downtown.
Yeah,
Whenever you're
drilling holes
replacing
in-
all the
yeah.
streets.
I was wondering if I saw a Spire van drive by at one point and not really stop or anything, but kind of slow down. So I'm wondering if it's just an employee like, hey, I'm gonna go check on this truck, see what's going on. It
Yeah.
was right when I
Oh,
saw.
we working over there?
I saw. I went down to Smoke and saw a couple of the news stations down there.
Yeah, they were doing live shots.
And then I saw the crime lab van pull up, but then the Spire van drives by, and I'm like, this guy's just checking out the stuff going on. That was
How did
funny.
did they say how he stole it? Was it just that he like?
I haven't seen that part, no.
Okay.
But I didn't realize, like, if I would have known it, because apparently he went around the block a couple times down here. Like, if I would have known
He was
that,
surveying the area.
I coulda
There's a new
gone
coffee
down there.
shop opening.
smoking, waving, or maybe got on my scooter and just gone alongside, because he was obeying all the traffic laws as he was going as well.
I thought the closing of the door was very polite.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Like, he was stopping. He wasn't, like, trying to go around cars. I mean,
What
he
time
was-
of day was that, by the way? Do we recall? Was it sometime in the
Oh,
afternoon?
they were still out there when I left here a little after 5.
Same.
It was afternoon, but what time afternoon?
The only reason why,
Maybe 3 o'clock?
and
or
I
something?
asked because I normally I feel like I take my lunch break generally around that time. So my question is, would Travis had been arrested had he been on the street corner when that took place?
I would have.
Now-
I would have. They would have been there, and I would have been behind you, going.
That's him.
Would have been great for content.
It
Yeah.
would have been. It really would have been. And
"You-
I'm not gonna
you've been-
lie.
You've been Denmoned.
And then not only that, I've been like, man, I could use a little extra cash.
Yeah.
That would've
I would
been
have. I would have been like,
I could have called your dream team.
Oh, yeah.
y'all got the dog. Gonna need it. He's fast.
Wouldn't it be funny if we you did the video obviously just to see what a canine can do,
Yeah.
and then a canine's actually sicked on me for something I didn't do?
Travis, I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna want to lay down.
Chris, my God!
You're in a
But-
cell. You hear from 3 cells down. Eat shit, Travis.
Thanks for subscribing.
Yeah.
Share the stream.
Organic growth.
That would have been dope because then I could have like promoted our shows, specifically like the one that's this Thursday.
Oh, what's this Thursday?
No, it's the happiest hour, Chris.
What does that entail?
That entails fun, drinks, and comedy. The happiest hour at Sophie's here in the Locust Building.
We're only. It's not what it's
That's not what it's called. Not the Locust
Grand
Building.
Center. We're
Okay.
only happy endings to Grand Theft Auto are portrayed.
When you're stealing vehicles and you want to stop by and grab a quick drink, come by the happiest hour.
4 o'clock special start. That's early, but we know you guys aren't working past 2 p.m. anyway. 6 p.m. You try and schedule a meeting with some of these people. 6 p.m. start for comedy. This week, our friends Justin Luke, Angela Smith, Larry Green, and Charlie Winfrey all
my, what
on
a
the
show.
bill. Larry Green, the recent champ. He won Funny Bone and Helium comedy competitions. Angela Smith will headline that night, and it's going to be a great time. Again, free comedy, Jack Daniel's specials. That's right. They present it with us. Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey specials
Technically
at
lives
Sophie's
here.
Artist Lounge on the second floor of our building here at the Zach building. And then Schlafly specials as well. St. Louis Brewery. Check them out. That's right. Schlafly and Jack Daniel's specials at Happiest Hour every Thursday. We've got live comedy for you and yours, everybody. No, that guy made my day, and I'm glad. I do wonder, impairment involved of some sort? Was he just doing his thing? Is he super young? I would like to just be, since it ended the way it did, I would be like, what was going on? Did you just take it? Were you drunk? Like, what was going on? Right? Aspire vehicle?
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe he just needed to get somewhere. He's
I
tired of the bus.
I don't necessarily understand the end game for that gentleman. I don't know what
Maybe there wasn't one.
motivated him, and maybe there wasn't one. I think getting into the psyche of why criminals in this particular city do the things that they have done that we've unfortunately had to witness over this summer. I would seriously like to know. I would, because it just seems not only just reckless, just seems. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I know we've talked about this at length, and we don't have to go too deeper into it, but it feels like when we were growing up, there was at least some level of a code. Crime has always existed, unfortunately. Homicides and shootings have always existed, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. But there was always, to a degree, a method to the madness. It was generally people in the quote-unquote game, dealer on dealer, etc. But now it just feels like the crimes that are taking place in the city of recent are just random and just unexplained. And this is kind of an example of, why the hell are you stealing a truck? Like, you're not even taking it to an impound shop. Like, you're not even, like, it just feels like you're just doing things to be doing it, and I don't necessarily understand
missed the
the end
bus.
game. That could have been it. Which, yeah, that probably was
Maybe
it.
he preferred when they were called Laclede. And he was trying to
Maybe
take
it was
them
a
out one
former
truck at a
Laclede
time.
employee.
Maybe so. He didn't appreciate the branding changes.
That's fair.
I
could
didn't
be
care
it.
for it either. I didn't blame him at all.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Have you taken
No.
your dear mother out to eat before,
Yes.
Gardner?
Yeah.
Where's this going?
Oh, I'm just saying, I love to treat my lovely mother because she's my hero. She helped raise this baby boy, made him to the man that he is today. And I wanted to treat my mother this past weekend
No,
to a very nice event.
I know what you. No. Don't couch this to form your own narrative.
We've
You
got a
ha-
narrative here.
Okay, here's the deal.
Oh, boy.
I know where he's going with this,
Oh,
and
Jesus,
I'm going
oh,
to
no.
jump in here and interrupt because I'm not going to allow him to control the message.
Oh, boy.
He said yesterday in the office, we're having a chat out in our, was it lobby? What do we call that area out
That's
there?
the Labus.
Okay, whatever.
Foyer?
Okay, I like foyer.
Fancy
Fancy
foyer.
foyer. It was myself, Stacy Static.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was out there? It was Beebs.
Beebs.
Beebs was out there. John Beebe was out
Stacy's
there.
producer. I think Ed was out there.
Edward was out there. Okay, so we're all out there talking, and I'm laying on the couch, just kind of checking Twitter, listening to Travis talk about whatever the hell he's talking about.
I don't know half the time.
And then he says, "Yeah, I got stood up by my own mother for dinner over the weekend. I was going to take her out to dinner." And I was like, "Oh, that's unfortunate. At least he, had the thought to take his mom out to dinner."
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And
What a guy.
then Travis said, "Yeah, I was going to take her to this gala." And then and I go, "Wait. you said you were going to take your mom out to dinner. He's like, yeah, I was take her out to dinner. I was going to take her. She was going to be my date to the event, the gala. Because he can't say soiree, so he was saying gala afterwards.
Stupid French.
I go, you were taking her to a free dinner.
Free appetizers.
Free, okay, so you weren't even taking her out to dinner. You weren't taking her out and paying for her dinner and all that. You were taking her to a free event. You got free tickets. That's not taking your mom out to dinner.
But doesn't that still count as taking your
nice.
mom out?
The thought's nice. Maybe don't, as you tend to do, if you do something small, you like to shout it from the mountaintop. Maybe don't brag about.
About taking my
Maybe
mom to
don't
a
call
nice-
it dinner.
Maybe don't.
That's it. There's food.
my
It
mom
is
will
dinner
be-
time.
You weren't taking her
They
to a
specifically
restaurant.
said light appetizers on the thing too, so she can
You know
call
what?
you on
You know
that.
where else
too.
they have
That's
light
what you should have
appetizers?
said. You should say, I was going to take my mom out for light appetizers.
Well, look. It's still
I'm
the
not,
same
that's a very
difference.
nice thought. It was a cool event.
Yeah, I
It was
just think
thing.
you're phrasing
But
it wrong.
But I know what you were doing, and you were like, I was gonna take her to dinner, and really churching yourself.
Well, it was.
She going to get a steak?
It doesn't matter. It was a nice event. I was taking my mom out to something nice.
I like the thought. I just think you're selling it wrong.
Okay.
I think it's misleading.
I'm just saying. My mama stood me up. That's cold-blooded, son.
Okay, now that's another issue. Why'd she stand you up?
Yeah.
She just didn't realize. She wanted to relax on the weekend.
Oh, okay.
She
Well,
didn't care to leave the house. She just wanted to chill. My mom works at BJC, and so she puts in some serious hours.
Yeah.
So she, on the weekends, don't care for the human beings. Which
including
I understand.
yourself.
But I was like, hey, man, it's going to be dogs going to be there. It's going to be a little bit of wine.
Free?
It's going to be some. Why does it matter if it's free or not?
Just seems like.
I feel like
You made it sound like you were taking her out to a nice dinner.
if you took your mother to the Academy Awards, do you think she cares that it was a free ticket?
I would tell her, and I would tell people I took my mom to the Academy Awards, not that I took her to dinner.
But people would understand.
There was a cheese tray. Eat your dinner, Mom.
That was
Not
food.
that I was taking my mom out for light appetizers and wine.
Black Sheep suggests that you took your mom to Costco for the Saturday special.
Mama, get anything you want from the sample trays. Anything you want. Just grab it and go, Mom. The world is your oyster here today.
I don't have any. I appreciate your thoughts and what you're trying to do. I think everyone does. It's just your explanation of what you were doing is just inaccurate.
Okay.
That's all.
That's fair.
Just wanted to. You kind of made me jump off the couch. when you-
You did. You were not
I was
happy.
like, wait.
Hold on,
What are you
pal.
talking? No. You're not telling us this when it's another thing. That was my only issue.
That's fair.
Classic Trav.
Hey, I know you're very good at booking things, and you are. And I think for our next happiest hour, I have a comedian in mind.
Does he write a script? Does he write his own
writing
script every day?
transitions today?
And I'm like, okay, so do you want me to do it? Do you want to do it? And then he's like, I love all the sorry, go ahead.
I am going to.
Who do you want to book, Travis?
Maybe we should holler at Shane Gillis. You know what I'm saying? Shane Gillis, of course, was recently hired by Saturday Night Live as a new cast member. Unfortunately, someone in the comedy community exposed old podcasts of Shane saying very racist remarks about Asian community and some very sexist remarks about
It was
women.
an entertainment reporter, wasn't it? Like it was somebody in journalist. I
Oh,
think
okay.
I saw yesterday the genesis of it.
I don't know that part.
He said, and I apologize. I can find it in about 2 seconds because I finally spent about 5 minutes just looking over everything. He said, SNL has hired Bowen Yang at the
Well, he was
I was
Bowen
like,
Yang was
I didn't know
already
if that was his last name. Well,
Bowen Yang was already a writer on
promoted
the
him to a
staff. They
cast
promoted
member,
him to
right.
a cast member. Yeah.
And he said, and then there's this guy, and had an edited clip of the Chinatown stuff.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
The comedian who had been under fire over the last few days for using racist and homophobic slurs on his podcast has been fired from Saturday Night Live. Gillis was one of the 3 cast members recently added to the show, which is set to begin its 45th season. However, the comedian was canned on Monday before ever making an appearance on the show. SNL released a statement saying, after talking with Shane Gillis, we've decided that he will not be joining Saturday Night Live. The spokesperson on behalf of producer Lauren Michaels, we want SNL to have a variety of voices, points of views within the show. The language he used is offensive, hurtful, and unacceptable. We are sorry that we did not see these clips earlier and that our vetting process was not up to our standard. And then Gillis released a statement of his own. He says, it feels ridiculous for comedians to be making serious public statements, but here we are. I'm a comedian who was funny enough to get on SNL. That can't be taken away. Of course, I wanted an opportunity to prove myself at Saturday Night Live, but it would be too much of a distraction. I respect the decision they made. I am honestly grateful for the opportunity. Very weird reaction to that. We talked about it, of course, yesterday, and I think I've seen other comedians as well point this out, especially Asian American comedians, where a simple "my bad" would have probably gone
I think like
the longest
because
way.
we can philosophize and go to each side of things. Like Jimmy O Yang is, I respect him. He's not happy with it. Norm Macdonald, I respect him. He's not happy with it. 2 different reasons.
Happy with firing or happy with?
He's pissed at SNL. It seems like. But at the same time, like, again, we could do an hour on this, that, the other. I agree with you. I think that, dude, you got hired by Saturday Night Live. But I also respect, I respect from an Asian American or Asian comic side where they come from. It's like, not funny. It wasn't good. And how they would even be super mad about it. I respect that. And then I also respect, like, Joey Diaz and Tony Hinchcliffe, who we've had on. We've had both of them on the show. You know, both saying he'll be fine, but then Tony taking a little further, being like, SNL's not for comics, and then he doesn't even respect the art. He's saying, he's like, listen, they do it for a certain type of person, and you can't be somebody who pushes boundaries in SNL or in comedy and even be on SNL anymore. And maybe that's true. I don't know. They don't bring a ton of like stand-up comics on, do they? It seems like it's more sketch and improv people. Whatever. From the point of just how this could have been fixed and a non-issue, I agree with that part where it's just like, where you could just say like, yeah, I get it. This the particular clip was almost exactly a year old, but that's not that long ago.
But
So
I think it
it's
wasn't
like,
just a clip. I think there's
I
a
know.
culmination of other issues. There was even a story about how his old local club, fired him because of his consistent racist and homophobic remarks. So it wasn't as if this was one isolated incident. There were multiple isolated incidents that added up to what many people thought was a theme. And again, if a comedy club even goes as far as to terminate you, you have to ask yourself as a comedian, what are you really talking about? If a comedy club, who we would all say is a safe space for comedians, if they're even acknowledging that.
Was it a club?
It was one of the promoters who he would frequently.
Okay.
The
Because
club,
I read it labeled as a theater, and I don't know if there's a difference or not there, so that's why.
There-
I
that's-
was
that was his
that's
home
quite a
base,
big-
if you will.
Okay.
Okay, hang on.
So,
But either or, he had it sounded like some of
They
the
wouldn't work
examples
with
they
him.
were
That's-
using.
that's-
Yes, they wouldn't work
that's
with
fair.
him, and so there was a history that existed there. And I want to say there was something he even said along the lines of pushing the boundaries in regards to what he can say in front of an Asian audience or about Asians that would rub most people the wrong way as well. It wasn't necessarily trying to tell the joke. It was trying to see what he can get in regards to a reaction out of his audience. And again, I think you can have those kind of jokes about different races and women, and you can do it. There's a way to do it, and you can't fall back on just pushing boundaries, bro. You gotta be smarter than that. You can't just fall back on something that lazy. And I think ultimately, had he just simply said, "Hey, man, what I said was completely out of place. Chink Jews is out. It's wrong. I don't know. You can't. I don't care what kind of comedy that you call yourself doing. That's wrong. You can't say that." And so just say, bro, that was the wrong language for me to use. I should not have said that. I apologize to people I've offended by using the word Jew chinks. I don't know how hard that is to acknowledge that that's not funny and that is offensive. It's okay if you miss as a comedian. You're going to miss. It's another thing when you know you've offended, you know why you said it, and when people get upset, when you push boundaries and people push back, you have to accept the backlash. That's just the nature of the game.
So that, I think where it comes in is you just have to know, like, you're entering a game with certain rules. With certain rules, you appeals to certain people, SNL, and this isn't the podcast world, it's SNL, and you should know what you're getting into with that. So whenever this stuff gets brought up, you have to play it strategically. If you want to go on Saturday Night Live and try and ply your craft, you should do. Honestly, if you look back at it, if he would have got some backing for, I get it where he doesn't want to drop the ball out of his mouth. Like, he's a dog and he doesn't want to, it's like, I'm not letting go of this. You guys have done this. So, like, pull up John Belushi, pull up Richard Pryor stuff, pull up Eddie Murphy stuff. That's fine. Right now, 2019, you have an opportunity to be on Saturday Night Live. Do you want to be on it? Okay.
Right.
Here's how you
do
this. You don't even have to believe it. You may still think you're wrong. No one's asking you to call yourself anything other than, if you would just been a little bit strategic about it and just been like, you know what, I see where it could be taken like that. Let's sit down and talk about it. I'll explain myself. I screwed up. Let's move forward.
But
because I mean, that's kind of what you were saying, right?
And
I mean,
the idea that these comedians say there aren't these boundaries, that's bullshit. You know, a vast majority of white comedians are not getting on stage saying the N-word. You know there are boundaries. You're not getting on stage calling people the F word to homosexuals because you know boundaries exist. So this idea that you're pushing boundaries is bullshit because you know, as a human being, there are things that you're not going to ever say in public. You're not going to go on public television saying the N-word if you're a white comedian. So this idea that you think you can say anything is horseshit because you would never do that because you know that'll be completely career suicide. And people would indeed, rightfully so, call you a racist. So this idea that all of a sudden this cancel culture is ruining people, it's called accountability. At the end of the day, look, this guy, as people have already pointed out, he'll be fine. He'll go on and continue to do stand-up. He can't do SNL. That doesn't mean he can't continue to be a comedian.
I hope he ends up on Tucker Carlson.
He'll probably end up being on Fox and Friends.
Come on.
he'll still.
Him and Greg Gutfeld. I'm sure that'll be greatly entertaining.
Another possibility.
And he's going to sit down with Andrew Yang. And again, I even said yesterday, I didn't think he deserved to lose his job. At the same time, Saturday Night Live also realizes that they also have other cast members, other minority cast members, that they're also going to have to look in the face. And they know what their audience is. So they know their audience is very progressive. So to think that they were going to be able to run him back out there, they looked at the math. They did the business decision. And I think I get why comedians, it's interesting. Who are the comedians that are speaking up? Because Rob Schneider, I guess he tweeted yesterday, and that was a bygone era. Yes, there were things we were able to say that we did say in the 90s, mid-90s, late 90s that if we look back now are cringeworthy. Things that we now say, oh, we know better. We now realize.
You're assuming things don't change.
Right.
Which is weird.
Right.
Because things constantly
change.
Changing.
The industry changes.
Yeah,
the craft changes.
I don't understand that.
Me neither. And that's what I'm saying.
Then you're just an old man yelling at the cloud.
Exactly.
So I don't understand that. And look.
You have to think these people are looking at it from the inside too.
I don't know if they're looking at it particularly from what has happened with Shane Gillis, though. I think they're more concerned about what could happen to them.
Yes.
Rob Schneider's Asian, number one.
And some of the stuff that they might touch on. I think that's because, like, Shane Gillis' stuff.
That's what Ian Bagg.
This wasn't a one-time thing.
Ian Bagg tweet. Did you see it? A, that was the funniest white guy they could find. B, did they listen to anything he did? And Ian will stand up for a million things for jokes.
So, I want you, you need to have that ability to make missteps, right?
Right.
But this wasn't a misstep.
Right.
This was who he is.
Right.
Like, you could have said, I've done this, and it didn't. If it didn't work, then you don't do it again, right?
Right.
But this was repeated.
Right.
And repeated.
Right.
And repeated and repeated and repeated. So this wasn't a misstep
right.
of any sort. That's where I think it fell apart for him, is that it wasn't a one-time incident. It was, this is who I am. And I've said in an interview, I will be racist to Asians. He said that in an interview with a Philadelphia newspaper in 2016.
Did you read that whole thing?
I read the excerpt where he said, in Billy Penn it was.
Where he was saying he would, and I'm not taking up, I read it and I thought it was interesting. He said, as a society, we're proving we can be racist to Asians. And I guess he thought his performance of it. He was saying that people don't mind. He's like, okay, I guess he was saying we pick
So
sides all
he
the
was
time.
saying that, but he's using that as an excuse to
Yes.
do so.
And
Right.
as a white
is-
male,
no,
you don't
no,
get
no,
to
no.
say those
Well, why
people
should
don't.
anyone get to
Well,
say
he
that?
doesn't get to say
I
those
just-
people don't mind.
Yeah.
Who are you're not
No,
those
he's-
people.
He was saying, no, I get it. He was saying crowds don't react, and he was saying as a society, this is where you can be like, well, that's not for your sounding board. He was saying as a society, people sure don't care if you make fun of Asian people. Does that make sense? I'm
Yeah,
not saying
that's
it's
just-
right,
just,
but that
it's
was
just
his
the
point.
weird. It's just a weird thing to plant your flag on as a comedian, and like that it's and not only if you. It's one thing because again, if you're going to do it,
if you can be an asshole under the guise of comedy,
yes,
and that's what pisses me off, because there are really funny people out there that can attack these sensitive subjects in a very skillful way.
there it is.
And I want to appreciate that. And just because you're a comedian doesn't mean you're skillful enough
Yes,
to be able to attack these subjects.
right.
So then what I find interesting too is then you have comics now getting super mad at other comics for celebrating that he got fired, and I guess that's when it's like the people celebrating the firing are upsetting skilled comics that I do respect. So
Yeah.
that's interesting that you have battles falling off.
Yeah, no,
that's
it
where I
is.
would say, like, where people are saying like this guy's a good comic, like Tim Dillon. He's a gay male comic. He's in New York. He's unbelievable, so talented. And he's saying the people that are celebrating the firing for the wrong reasons, he's like, enjoy not ever working on Saturday nights because you're not funny. That's like something he was saying. So it's interesting just to see how people react. But like you say, like go to the source, like go to the Jimmy O Yangs of the world. That guy's fun. He's a dude who's from Hong Kong who grew up in parts of Los Angeles, like got into hip hop culture and stuff as a kid. It didn't even speak English when he first got here, I don't think. So like that guy can take a joke and mess around, and he's not cool with what that guy was saying. So
And I think even to
him
Ian
about
Bag's
it.
point,
No,
I think
that's good. I
and
mean, Chris is right though. You're getting the proper perspective. Then you're at least
Well, and say what you want about Andrew Yang or whatever, but he's in the atmosphere right
Yeah.
now, and he's like, hey, let's talk, and he's setting it up. Maybe some good will come from that. I don't know.
I also think Andrew Yang sees the benefit of a politician meeting with a.
No,
SNL cast
1 million,
member.
1 million%. And it's like, and and maybe drawing over some people that like Shane Gillis for the wrong reasons to himself. So
But I think also to a degree, Saturday Night Live sort of set themselves up for this as well. They acknowledge that they didn't vet this guy as thoroughly as they have, and I think to Ian's point, like there are a lot of very funny comedians out there who aren't racist or have racist material. Like there are a ton of comedians who don't even feel the need to go there because they can be funny in other aspects. So it isn't like the end of the world when it comes to being able to bring the type of talent to your show. Saturday Night Live, if Saturday Night Live had a better history of hiring more minority players, then they probably would have been given maybe almost the benefit of the doubt. But because they have a terrible history of hiring women, terrible history of hiring, or at least of recent, hiring minorities, like that that certainly didn't help their case at all either. So they had to sort of come out and be a little bit more forceful than they wanted to because they've been called out in the past for not bringing more women into the writers' room and more minorities part of their cast.
I would see, and that's where I would respect someone lobbing shots at them. They're like, you get to be the moral arbiter. You get to do that. Now listen, the reality is they are what they are. You know what's going on with them right now with your stuff. And I'm not saying you have to shield all your material, change who you are or whatever, but just like it all could have been just literally settled with the one, hey, I've done some crazy stuff. I get why people are mad. I don't truly think that. I hate that I have to explain that. And I'd like to move forward. And if anyone wants to talk to me about it, I'm all ears, and we'll get through it. And let's go have some fun on SNL. Like that's you said it, and I agree with that. Where it's like you're part of this SNL thing. You don't have to love them, but you signed up for it, and you know what it could do for your career.
It has done wonders
so
for a
then
lot of
play
people's
by
career.
their rules.
Certainly.
Like I get it, and they do. They're in that position. They get to have John Belushi, John. I always screw it up now. Jim Belushi's farming weed in Canada with Dan Aykroyd now. They get to have John Belushi being a samurai and forget about it because they are SNL. You're not SNL. They get to do whatever they want now. So
I think ultimately it came down to that apology. that apology hurt. Like that apology, I just thought like again that was another opportunity for him. Again, I think that was what did him in more than anything else. I think if he had come out and said, you know what, guys, some of the language that I was using, absolutely inappropriate. I certainly understand where people are coming from. It was my attempt to be funny. I failed. And comedians fail all the time. I think people sympathize with that aspect of comedians trying jokes that they know are risky, and some hit, some don't. And I think in this instance,
In this show, most don't.
they definitely don't. They hardly ever, in fact. But no, I think more than anything, I think it was the apology that ultimately was the last nail in his coffin, the lack thereof.
Put edgy
What
in
if
there.
if he wanted
You
to
can't
be?
put edgy in there. When
But if
you're
he
doing-
wanted it- but if he
you're
really
doing
wanted to.
Asian jokes,
It's not
cliched
edgy.
Asian
It's
jokes.
not edgy.
But if he really wanted
That's what I
to.
hear at the bar, and I roll my eyes and walk
Yeah,
outside.
yeah. If
and
he,
go,
but if he
30-year-old
really wanted to, he'd been like, you know who's controlling Hollywood. Like, go in if you're gonna go in on it. It's like, yeah. It's like, yeah.
But you know what? He should have showed his work. I was like, all right, Mr. Edgy. All right, Mr. Pushing your boundaries. Let's see some of that material. And I don't think we've seen any of that so-called edgy material
So
that he was talking about
he's
that he was
he
holding on to.
Yeah, and very funny, respected comics were kind of standing up for him, and so it's the perception.
Do you want
part,
Rob
right?
Schneider coming to your defense?
Rob Schneider's.
Do you want
No.
Deuce Bigelow coming to your defense
You
as a
just did the-
comedian?
You just did the Travis.
Yeah, you
there.
did. You go, well,
First of all,
The Rolodex.
First of all, Mr. Progressive, don't talk about an Asian American that way. A lot of people don't realize that he's Filipino. He's,
well, that Rob Schneider part kind of gives it away.
well,
A lot of people aren't sure.
The part in Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo,
Of course,
where the
classic.
guy has a penis for a nose and sneezes into the that's peak comedy.
That is edgy, my friend. That is boundary pushing.
The
Boundaries were pushed.
That guy is super rich and he's got a nice resume, and we'll end on that. note.
Did you say yes or no?
He did not. He did not answer it. Answer it.
I'll sit on a fence, man. You tell me you don't want him to come. I'll interview Rob Schneider all day.
I'm from Farmington. I'll sit on anything. Put my elbow on it.
That's right. These size 14 boots get tough on a fence, man. I'll tell you.
I got my Josh Hawley boots on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I'm not educated enough to hang out with Josh Hawley. The good folks at Tech Electronics helped us outfit this studio. They take care of us. They take care of folks around St. Louis. If you check out techelectronics.com, you can see all of their capabilities. If you're in charge of your emergency systems at your buildings, or if you even need managed services, they can help you. Hit them up online, techelectronics.com. Let them know We Are Live sent you. I don't know if you know the board we have. It's a Behringer.
I have heard about Behringer.
And they,
It is the
X32.
X32.
it is the Cadillac of soundboards.
That's right, and they got us together with that. So big thanks to Tech Electronics. Guys, we're going to take a really quick break. Gardner's going to get a quick scoot in, maybe smoke a menthol, and we'll be back on the other side with 101 ESPN's Randy Character live in studio. I said character, didn't I? He is a character. Randy Character in studio next.